Hello everyone and welcome back to Analyzing the Bad. I'm your host, Emmy. Today we're going to be analyzing the teaser trailer for one of Breaking Bad's most critically acclaimed episodes, Ozymandias. Let's go.
And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
So, let's analyze. In this trailer, we get no characters. The only thing we get character-wise is Walt's narration of the poem. Image-wise, we see time-lapse shots of New Mexico, of the deserts that Walt's been to, of Walt's house, so that we can have a connection to what we're seeing while Walt is speaking to us. And while these observations may seem small, they have a really strong importance. Do you want to know what it is? Of course you want to know, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So the reason that these observations are important is because the whole poem of Ozymandias is about a king looking down over his fallen empire. Sound familiar? So essentially, giving us images of all of these somewhat iconic locations in Breaking Bad that are deserted, that are isolated, that are abandoned, allow us to look over Walter White's works, ye mighty, and despair. Huh. Are you seeing the connection I'm seeing? So, since all of these places are abandoned, it's evident that Walter White's empire, which includes not only his drug business, but also his family and his partnerships, are ruined, and they're gone, and nothing of them remains. So, this has allowed the viewers to see that this empire that Walter has been building upon for the past 5 seasons cannot continue to grow upon itself. It must fall. So now if you're tired of hearing me talk, you're still gonna hear me talk, but it's gonna be other people's ideas. And mine. It's Twitter analysis time! Okay, so first up we have a question from I Love Jesse Pinkman 44. Great name. I do too. 44 times. So the question is, what is the meaning of Walt saying this specific poem? Are the writers trying to foreshadow something? That's a great question, I Love Jesse Pinkman 44. I do think that having Walter White do this voiceover over the clip does hold a lot of meaning. So for one thing, having Walt do this voiceover does create a connection between the man and the poem. And I think that this opens up a few questions that the writers wanted us to be able to ask ourselves. So the first question I think that the writers want us to be able to ask ourselves is, does the downfall of Ozymandias foreshadow the destruction of Walt's empire? Secondly, I think that a question that I could find from this video was, is the fallen king attempting to convey a warning to Walter? And number 3, I guess the most daring question and the most terrifying question for Walter White lovers like myself is, could Walter come out of this chaos alive? So yes, I love Jesse Pinkman 44. There is a lot of meaning behind Walter saying this specific poem, and I do think that the writers wanted us to be able to ask ourselves a few questions. They always like to tease us, don't they?
I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive.
Alright, so I'm gonna take one more Twitter question. This one is from Breaking Bread 51. So the question is, what do you think was the point of using images of places familiar to Breaking Bad fans, instead of just using Walt's voiceover? Thank you for the great question, Breaking Bread 51. I think that using these clips of these places around New Mexico, which are common to the series, was important because, in my opinion, it helped to evoke sort of an emotional connection to these places. It also sort of made fans think about all the things that have happened in these specific areas since Walt has become a drug lord, from his journey from chemistry teacher to super drug lord empire man. And it's just kind of a way to get people reminiscing about things that have happened since the beginning of the show. Now we're going to take a quick break from the fan questions and hear from our correspondent Ellie. Ellie, give us your thoughts on the trailer.
Hi, Emmy. So this trailer held a lot of symbolism in it. I just wanted to point out one of the coolest shots was when it showed Heisenberg's hat abandoned in the desert.
Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare.
So I believe that including the shot of Heisenberg's hat sitting alone in the desert proves that even though Heisenberg's statue remains, his empire is desolate.
I appreciate all that you had to say about the hat because every time I see that hat, I just get all the feels. So now it's time for the phone call analysis. Hi caller, what's your question?
Hi, my name is Sharia, and I'm calling from Chicago. My question is, why do you think the trailer included the loud booming in the background while Walter was reciting the poem? Any deeper meaning behind that? Thank you.
Good question. So I definitely think the booms have a deeper meaning. The louder moments of the booming happen in the beginning of the teaser trailer up until Walter says the famous line, "Look down on my works, ye mighty, in despair." After that, the booms silence out completely for a moment and then they pick back up, but they're much quieter and much fainter. So really, I just think that these booms are a warning to Walter about the impending doom that is coming toward him and this massive drug empire that he has built. I think that the whole poem, since it's about this wreckage of a fallen empire, is really just trying to tell Walt that this can't last forever and that his empire will fall and nothing will remain of it. Well, it's that time of the week where the show comes to a close. Thanks for the great questions from our caller and from our Twitter viewers, and thanks Ellie for your great analysis. We'll see you next week. Keep breaking bad.